You know me as Coach Catherine. Not 100% sure we're live yet, so I'm just going to ramble for a moment. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of this community. Hi, I think we're live now. So, Coach Catherine here. Love to talk to you guys. I've talked to a couple of you today. You're all amazing and incredible, different phases of your journey, challenged with different things, all different things going on. Life throws us curveballs, but we all manage to get through it, right? We get through it together. We need a community. We need help. We need support. There's never too much help or support. I always think back in the caveman days, we wouldn't survive without our tribe, and that's the same as it is now. We need to surround ourselves with people that have the same mission, the same goals, those same things that they want to achieve. So know that this is your community. This is your space to post questions, post your challenges, post whatever it is that you're moved to talk about in this group. This group is yours, so create a new thread, whatever's inspiring you in the moment or you need help with, let us know. Post about it. Let us know how we can cheer you on and support you. If you need more help getting more movement, more activity, learning how to drink more water, more sleep, lower your stress. I mean, the topics are endless. So utilize this space. Know that it's a safe place. I'm really protective of this group. It is a smaller group right now because I don't let a lot of people in, right? I let people in that are US bound, that are curious or need help with their prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. So I'm pretty protective of this group. One of the topics I wanted to talk about today, or the primary topic, I try to keep these videos under about 15 minutes, is to talk about what foods to have on hand always. And I kind of just jotted down a bunch of notes. I actually opened up my refrigerator, opened up my freezer, looked in my cabinets, and kind of like jotted down a bunch of notes. So, it's just kind of like off the cuff. I feel like that's more natural and more fun, a way for you to get to know me a little bit more. One other really quick thing, I did just change the name of this group to Type 2 Diabetes Support. And the reasoning is I had a friend of mine, she's a coach as well, and she's amazing and incredible. She had messaged me stating that Facebook is really cracking down on groups that have in the title anything to do with health or lose weight or anything like that. They're cracking down on those groups and actually like closing them without much of any warning because it breaks the rules of Facebook. So I quickly, when I got that message, I was like, oh my gosh, I'd hate to lose this group. So I quickly changed the name. So that's the reason for that. Also, the other group, I changed that group to, what did I call? I think it's Healthy Lifestyle Support. And you're more than welcome to join both groups. They're both very, very different. That particular group is more about activity, movement, accountability as far as working out and support in that way, and a little bit to do with food and stuff. Where this group is really boiled down to type 2 diabetes and preventing type 2 diabetes. So maybe you've been told by your doctor you're pre-diabetic. So ways to prevent going full-blown diabetic or insulin dependent. As with always, everybody's body's different. So what I'm going to rattle off of things that I personally keep on hand for managing my blood sugar levels might vary from person to person, right? Because our pancreases are at different levels. Some of us have, more advanced diabetes than others. For me, I'm fully controlled. Like, I'm not on any medication. I'm not on any insulin. I have been insulin dependent before, so I know what that's like. But I have my blood glucose managed, right? And how I have it managed is by purely diet and exercise and keeping my lifestyle really fine-tuned. But some things that I always have on hand, and I thought this would be a great topic, is I always have canned proteins, always, right? I actually did use, then actually that's what stimulated this topic today. I always have chopped salad, not always, like 3 or 4 days a week. I always have a bowl in the refrigerator full of chopped greens, maybe some peppers, maybe mushrooms. I don't like to put mushrooms in there because it kind of gets slimy after a day or two. Lots of cucumbers, spinach, romaine, What else do I have in there right now? I'm trying to think. Um, can't think of anything else right now off the top of my head. But I have a whole whatever variety of vegetables that are on sale or whatever I get. A lot of times I'll have chopped broccoli and cauliflower, but I don't in this bowl, so that's why I'm kind of like, what do I have? Oh, pea. I have some pea pods in there, which some of you may not be able to have peas because it does sometimes spike your glucose levels. I do have a little bit of pea pods in there. My husband loves them. They kind of can be expensive too, so I got them this time because they were on sale. But I have chopped salad and I needed a protein. Usually I have protein ready to go in my refrigerator, but for whatever reason, my daughter got hungry and ate my tilapia. So, which is fine, whatever. But I had canned chicken that I was like, no problem. I'll put that on my salad and off I went. But I always have canned chicken, canned turkey, canned salmon, canned tuna, always on stock on hand. And I actually stocked up significantly back when COVID hit. Like I went and I just bought tons and tons of this because I was like, I can't go without my protein. I need my protein. So I don't recommend living off of canned proteins, right? Canned tunas, especially tuna. Tunas once in a while is good because of the mercury is what concerns me. But anything canned has typically a high sodium concentrate, so that's another concern. But I always have fresh, well, not always. Most of the time I have, in the summertime, I always have fresh berries because of where I live. I'm fortunate. I live in Spokane, Washington. We can actually go pick our own berries from about June until now. We got all different varieties. We start off with raspberries and then we actually can do cherries. Cherries are low glycemic and don't spike me as long as I have it with protein. And then we do the blackberries and we do the blueberries. So we always have berries readily available in the summertime to go pick and fresh. But I always have a stockpile of berries in my freezer. Why? Because berries are really important. They're low glycemic and they have high fiber. And as long as I pair it with protein, my blood sugars don't spike. Again, how you test with your meter. I have a beautiful slide in Unit inside of this group, and there's a ton of great content in Unit. But you test your blood sugar before you take your first bite, right? Get that benchmark. Find out where your blood sugars are. So let's say you're right at 100, which is great. We want to be 70 to 120, right? I'm sorry, yeah, 70 to 120 is the range that you want to stay in. Never over 140 because it causes permanent damage. But if you test your blood sugar, blood glucose, right before you take your first bite, you're at 100. You have your berries and maybe some eggs, right? And you test 1 hour later from that first bite. So I always set my timer on my phone. And your blood glucose is maybe 105 or 110. Perfect. If it goes up to 120 or more, then there's a problem. That means that combination of food that you consumed was higher than a 20-point increase. That's a problem. That means that your body is not able to handle that. Now, there are some adjustments you can make. Again, portions are really important. So berry wise, I probably stick around about a half a cup. And protein wise, I would typically have 1 egg and half a cup of egg whites, and I'm fine. My body can handle that. So I'm offsetting the berries, the little bit of fructose that's in those berries with a protein. It allows my body to be able to process it without a spike. So that's kind of a good example, explanation of that. So I always have berries. Summertime I have fresh berries, but I always have frozen berries on hand. I try to get berries in my diet every day because of the antioxidants. They're high in vitamins. They're great for your immune system, great fiber. They're amazing. They're kind of like a treat for me. One of the other things that I always have is different kind of mustards. I love mustards. Be careful to make sure it doesn't have sugar or honey or any kind of sweeteners inside of them. I like the ground Dijon mustards, but I love all kinds of fancy mustards because I put mustards on my salad with a little bit of vinegar, and that's it. I don't use oil because oil has a ton of calories, so none of that. But sugar-free condiments, I don't have a lot of that. In fact, the only sugar-free anything that I have is syrup. But sugar-free condiments are really popular in the diabetes communities, the barbecue sauces and the ketchups and stuff like that. The barbecue sauces, I've had a couple that were really good. I just don't like that watery consistency. It's just kind of weird, and I just almost would rather just go without than have, these expensive condiments just sitting in my fridge and not being used. So, vinegars, I have a lot of different varieties of vinegars, but be very careful. A lot of them do have sugar in them as well. Like the balsamics, a lot of times have sugar, so read the label. I believe the white balsamic does not. Now, again, read labels, make sure. I always get frozen turkeys, and people make fun of me, but my family loves mock Thanksgiving dinner. So I get the big turkeys. I get just the turkey breasts. Sometimes there's a store here that smokes turkey breasts too, and that's amazing. But we have mock Thanksgiving dinner, and when I call it mock Thanksgiving dinner, I do turkey or turkey breast, and then I do sugar-free Jello, the box, to get 2 boxes, and then I put cranberries in a pan and enough water just to cover the cranberries. Boil that, and it's like this cranberry sauce. And then I make cauliflower mashed potatoes. And so it's our mock Thanksgiving. My family loves it. That is a great meal. I probably make that once a month. And then Thanksgiving, I do the real thing, the real McCoy. But, my family loves mock Thanksgiving. And then the extra turkey usually lasts me a couple of days. But lots of turkey. I always have turkey in my freezers. I think it's a great thing to have on hand. Frozen chicken breasts. Always have frozen chicken breasts. The tenderloins are really nice because the portions are a little more realistic. But the full chicken breasts are great too. You could just thaw out a couple maybe. But I always really stress to my clients, every night for dinner, I always cook 2 extra servings for me to have leftovers the next day. Like I said, my daughter ate my tilapia, which was one of my servings today. She didn't know. It's okay. I don't say anything. I always have my other proteins to resort to. But always have frozen chicken breasts. Sometimes I'll get a duck every once in a while. It is a fattier meat, so you got to be careful once in a great while. I love Cornish game hens too. Remember, don't eat the fat, don't eat the skin. But half of a Cornish game hen is another, way to mix things up. I usually have frozen pork tenderloins too, the different seasonings. They have all kinds of fun ones, like teriyaki, which might have sugar in it, so read the labels. But they have like a honey mustard, or not honey mustard, but a Mediterranean one. That's probably one of my favorite ones. But make sure, again, it doesn't have the fat, doesn't have the skin. I always have those in my freezer. They're really easy to thaw out. You can thaw them out from morning until dinner. It's perfect. I always have lots of vegetables on hand. So I do grocery shop twice a week. I found it's impossible to keep vegetables around fresh by shopping once a week. So I always shop twice a week. But cucumbers, I always have tons of cucumbers. And again, I live in Washington. I was able this last Sunday to go pick tons of cucumbers so I got them coming out my ears. So lots and lots of cucumbers are great for when you're feeling like, I'm hungry. And sometimes if you think about it, am I really physically hungry or am I just mentally hungry? And if I'm mentally hungry, meaning maybe I'm a little stressed out or a little tired or a little run down and I'm not truthfully like physically hungry, I'll eat cucumbers just so I have something to munch on and crunch on. So again, you can use mustard, salt, pepper. You can use vinaigrettes, vinegars to spice them up. There's all kinds of great seasonings out there too that you can use. But always have lots and lots of veggies. I recommend all things above ground except for peas and corn. Stay away from peas and corn because they, one, either spike your blood sugars or cause inflammation. Corn. Tofu is a good one to have on hand. I like the firm tofu just to mix things up, make things a little different, try something new. I always have tofu. I always have a large rack of eggs in my refrigerator, and I always have egg whites, the cartons. I do recommend no more than 2 egg yolks a day, though, just keeping in mind your cholesterol and your heart health. So that's why I use a lot of egg whites. I always get stir-fried vegetables in the frozen section and in the fresh section. There's bags of stir-fried vegetables. I love those bags because I use them for salads or I use them for stir fry. I have so much flexibility with those or just eating them raw. So I love stir-fried vegetables, always having them on hand. And I mentioned this earlier about sugar-free Jello. I always have sugar-free Jello, the packets, the boxes of them. And then sometimes I'll get the pre-made ones in the little cups just to have for a little treat. Same with pudding. Same thing. I have both the powder and the little cups sometimes. I actually have some right now, which is rare. But it's nice to have something for a sweet treat, and they're really actually really good. The Jello and the pudding, the powder, you can use that with non-fat Greek yogurt. Mix that up, make it fun and flavorful. Just a little bit is all you need, so that box will last you a while. Or cottage cheese. Trying to think of what else clients have used, or just coconut milk. Whipping it up in that, making a sweet treat out of that. Or like I said, I make a cranberry sauce out of 2 boxes of the sugar-free raspberry or cherry. I always have pickles and olives on hand, but be very careful. Olives are high in calories. There's a lot of oil in them as why. So just be really, really cautious. Read your labels and just have, I think a maximum is like 8 olives, which seems really little, which is, but be aware. And same with pickles, be aware of your sodium intake. Oftentimes a serving is actually 1 spear or 2 spears, depending on the size of them. So be very, very careful. And then the sodium load is a concern. Gluten-free oatmeal. Now this is another thing that you got to make sure that your body can handle. I can't have oatmeal without protein with it. So I have to have either a lean ham or 1 egg plus some egg whites. I used to put egg whites in my oats, but I kind of have moved away from that because of the texture. It doesn't really bother me, but I don't know. I just kind of like the eggs by themselves. But gluten-free oatmeal is a great carbohydrate. I'm really big about having carbohydrates, but small amounts. A quarter cup dry or half a cup maximum. I can handle up to a half a cup. I can't handle any more than that. I just cook the dickens out of it to make it more voluminous, so I feel like I'm getting a lot. And I can put actually just a couple berries in there to kind of make it flavorful, and a little bit of sugar-free syrup, and my oats are incredible. You can also put protein powders in your oats to make it more flavorful. There's so many out there that are great and low sugar. If you need help finding one, I have a couple of resources for that as well. 100 calorie or less wraps, whole grain if you can find it. These are good too. Maximum carbohydrates, you should have 2 servings a day if you're active. If you're not active, 1. I suggest your carbohydrates should be first thing in the morning, and then 1 before you work out or go for a walk or move. But remember, always have protein with it. Do not have deli meat. Stay away from deli meat. Too high of sodium, nitrates, and all this other crap that you don't want in your body. But again, wraps only if your body can handle that and process that without a 20-point spike or greater. 0-calorie pasta. If you guys have resources for 0-calorie pasta that one tastes good, has a good texture, and isn't like $3 or $4 for a small package. Like, it's crazy what they're charging. So I'm eager for them to find new ways to make 0 carbohydrate pastas or rice that isn't like gonna break the bank. It seems expensive. Rice cauliflower, I mentioned that earlier. I've never done the fresh rice cauliflower or made my own rice cauliflower. I always get the frozen stuff. I substitute that for pastas, noodles, or rice. And I love it. Like, it took me a while to get used to it, but now I love it. And actually my family is starting to move towards that as well. Spray oil is something that I use. I just use spray oil. I don't drizzle oil on anything. Again, keeping the calorie count low. Limes and lemon are great for zest on your food, on your meals, on your dishes, but also a lime or lemon in your water once or twice a day is recommended for your kidney health, flushing and detoxing your body. But make sure you're drinking 120 ounces of water a day. I mentioned sugar-free syrup. I like to put that on my squash and my oats. Pico de gallo or salsa, make sure there's no sugar. Or make your own is really the key, but putting that on everything. Like, I have a client that puts that on her low-fat cottage cheese. I've actually never done that, but I try to stay away from dairy. So, but anyways, wild game meat and wild fish is also something to have on hand, always frozen, fresh. Black coffee. There's also coffee alternatives out there. I have one that's called Teecino. I think it's Teecino. I love it. It's decaffeinated. I can have it any time of day. I love spicy and fruity teas as well, so I have tons of that, caffeinated and decaffeinated. Stop the caffeine at noon. It does have an effect on your blood sugars, how you feel, and your sleep and your energy. I always have tons of onions, garlic, and ginger. I usually try to get the fresh, but I also have jugs of it. Nutritional yeast is also another great alternative to cheese. I love it on my eggs. I love it on all kinds, and roasted broccoli or cauliflower is just amazing and so good for you. Amino acids instead of soy sauce is a great swap. It's really good for you. It tastes the same, I think. But the last thing I want to mention is, because I've gone over 15 minutes, I try to keep these under 15 minutes, but the last thing I want to mention is make sure you're planning your meals out for the entire week. Make sure that you know what you're eating for the whole week. Plan it out, especially know what you're going to eat for the next 24 hours. Always moving forward. You never want to be stuck standing in front of the refrigerator. What can I eat? And have nothing to choose. Always, always know what you're going to eat. If you need help, I'm here for you. Let me know. We can hop on a call for 30 minutes for free. I don't charge anything. I don't pressure you into buying anything. It's just you and I having a talk about your goals. And I usually try to give you as much pointers as possible in that 30 minutes. And then offer you an opportunity to be on my wellness app for a week for free if you want to try that out. And that offers in more tips and suggestions. So I'm here for you. I absolutely love this group. I'm passionate about preventing type 2 diabetes or helping people where they don't feel alone, because I have been alone. I have been scared. I've been at the end of a grocery aisle crying. I've had my blood sugars go from 30 to 300 in a matter of hours, and been terrified. I've also been insulin dependent. I've been locked in a room with my doctor and said, you have to inject this saline into your leg or you just can't leave. So it's not fun. I'm genetically predisposed to have type 2 diabetes, but I'm living proof that you can get control of your lifestyle. You can overcome all the challenges. I have tons and tons that I won't bore you with on this live, but reach out to me. Don't feel like you're a bother. Don't feel like you're a pain. I'm here for you. I'm a resource. I want to help you, and I'll stop rambling. All right, guys, thank you so much. Make sure you get really engaged in the group. Add people to the group that are in the same boat. The bigger this community, the more resources, more help that we can help for each other. And I hope you have a great day. All right, thank you. Bye.